Coming to you live from an undisclosed location somewhere deep in the heart of American flyover country. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian whistleblower. Welcome to the Christian Whistleblower channel. We may be under the radar, but we are always over the top, and that's no exception with today's program. We're continuing on with our study on the eyes of America's most favorite, America's most powerful politicians. Susan Garcia correcting a statement she made yesterday that AOC graduated from Harvard. She did, as Mr. Daugherty stated, graduate from, I don't know if it was Boston College or Boston University, actually. I'm not sure which one it was, but it was one of those Boston schools. So thank you. But she may, I don't know, did she do a master's or something at Harvard? That's possible. But anyway, we're not talking about AOC today. We're talking about some other politicians. We'll go ahead and go through the president's cabinet. And I have a little surprise wrinkle that we're going to throw into this as well. I think it'll be very, very powerful. Boston College with honors. Well, there goes the idea that she's stupid. I mean, she's at least able to memorize and regurgitate, right? So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Let's take a look at the president's cabinet. And we're going to look at people that are in his cabinet. And we're going to look at their eyes. And we're going to see what we can see. And these are in no particular order, ladies and gentlemen. These are just folks that come up on the list. Oh, come on, man. Really? Really? This is Nick Mulva, Office of Management and Budget. Kind of a hard picture to tell, but he doesn't look too bad to me. His eyes look good to me. And here's the little wrinkle that we'll do today. We'll go to the rods and we'll say, rods, is Nick Mulva possessed of harmful entities? And the rods say no. So now we've got, I would say, verbal or visual confirmation. It looks good to me. And then we got, more importantly, rod confirmation. Okay. So let's go to Sonny Perdue, the Secretary of Agriculture. Sonny Perdue, Secretary of Agriculture. Now I'm taking my glasses off just to be objective. I would say that Sonny Perdue, Secretary of Agriculture, he looks fine. Eyes-wise, entity-wise, I'm saying he's pretty good. That's my take on it. That's my read on it, ladies and gentlemen. Now let's go with the rods for Secretary Sonny Perdue. Is Secretary Sonny Perdue possessed of bad entities? And the rods say a slow no. So he has killed a lot of chickens. So, that could be part of it. He's part of a culture of death. That could be part of the problem that the rods might have with Sonny Perdue. But we're not here to talk about that. We're just here to talk about whether or not they've got entities or not and how their eyes look. So that's Secretary of Agriculture, Sonny Perdue. Let's take a look at the Secretary of Commerce, and his name is Wilbur Ross. Now, another bad picture. Wilbur doesn't scream out bad to me. Wilbur does not scream out bad to me. Let's see what the rods say. Is Wilbur Ross possessed of malevolent entities? Rods say a hearty no. I would agree with the rods. So far, President Trump's cabinet's looking pretty good. Here's the Secretary of Education. I forget her last name, but her first name, but her last name's DeVos. Is it Beth DeVos? Ms. DeVos looks good to me. Mrs. DeVos looks good to me. What do the rods say about Mrs. DeVos? Is Mrs. DeVos possessed of malevolent entities? No. Somebody says she looks like a puppet, but the rods say no entity issues. And I say no entity issues with Miss DeVos. Now, here's one of my personal favorites. I hope he doesn't get a bad score from the rods. Secretary of Energy. Oh, shoot. Rick Perry from Texas. And we're not going to get a great picture of him again. Secretary of Energy, Rick Perry from Texas. Rick looks like a good old boy to me. I got no problems with Rick. Maybe slightly, but that's, all pixelated. I got no problems with Rick. Do the rods have problems with Rick? Is Rick Perry possessed of malevolent entities? The rods a pretty solid no, a slowish no. So you never know. He is involved in that whole Texas, could be money, oil, human trafficking kind of stuff. So, but the rods say no, and I say no for Rick Perry. Rick Perry looks pretty good. And the last cabinet member that we'll look at today is the, what is he the secretary of? I don't know. I thought I put down what he was secretary of, but he's the Secretary of Health and Human Services, and his name is Azar. Secretary of Health and Human Services, and his name is Azar. I got no problem with him either. I got no problem with Secretary Azar either. Is Secretary Azar possessed of any malevolent entities? The rods say it's pretty firm no. A little slow, but pretty firm nonetheless. So I would say that so far Trump's cabinet gets a pretty clean bill of health, except for who was it? It was we had a couple questionable people in Trump's cabinet. Or did we? No, I don't think we had anybody questionable in Trump's cabinet. But we can look back on that yesterday. You can look back on the yesterday's show, The Eyes Part 1. So that's the Republican side. I thought we'd take a look at some Democrats today, too, and not necessarily most powerful politicians, but some of the most powerful people in the news today in opposition to the president. So this might be a little bit fun. Oh, we do need to do Jared Kushner at some point. But we're going to start off with this fellow right here. One Michael Cohen. While the president is off on historic business, he's back here seeing how many times he can stab the president in the back. Those eyes look a little problematic to me. Those eyes look a little problematic to me. I don't trust them. It doesn't look so much entity possession as it looks to be just like the lights are on, but ain't nobody home. This almost looks like a non-sold entity type person. A little bit of a Bundy light. That's just my take. Let's see what the ads say. Is Michael, dead eyes, I agree. Does Michael Cohen have some entity issues? The rods say a slow yes. Is Michael Cohen possessed of any malevolent entities? No answer. Is Michael Cohen a vehicle for malevolent entities? A slowish yes. So, he's got some issues. Empty, I would say. I agree with Megan. Just very, very empty. Tracy says hollow. I would agree as well. Harking back to the Hollow Man movie with Kevin Bacon. So, I would definitely say Cohen kind of, worrisome, troublesome. And he's been caught lying. And I love it how a guy that's been convicted of lying to Congress is testifying before Congress, but he promises to tell the truth this time. And he's been caught again. But anyway, so here's that's Michael Cohen. We're talking about people in opposition to the president. I think this guy's on the wrong end of the scale. How about this guy? You remember this guy? Little Andy McCabe. Scary. Actively malevolent, in my opinion. Actively malevolent, in my opinion. Let's see what the rods have to say. Is Andy McCabe possessed of actively malevolent entities? Slow yes. Okay. Yeah, he creeps me out. I don't trust him. I say no bueno for Andy McCabe. And speaking of Andy McCabe, he had his nose so far up this guy's orifice that maybe some of this guy rubbed off on him. Although, yeah, Comey looks dangerous. I would say, again, active infestation of entities. Oh, Justin Trudeau will do. Is Comey actively possessed of entities? A pretty hearty yes from the rods. Yeah, Andy does look like a reptile, Francis. I agree with you. Andrew McCabe is a reptilian / archon. Bad, but not as bad as STROK. I really likes to dress up. Which one, McCabe or Comey? Could you mention Comey, 6'8", all dressed up? That would be a little bit scary. That's Joe is waxing prophetic. That is sad. I don't know if you're talking about McCabe or if you're talking about Comey. Yeah, exactly. Comey messed up. Slave to his reptilian master, says Charlie D'Angelo. Yeah, I can almost agree with that. Okay, who we go on to next? Well, we're going on to the next one. He's going to be gone in a couple of weeks, but he's part of this whole sordid affair too. Rod Rosenstein. Again, not a great picture. He looks impish to me. Not really dangerous, but he's more like the errand boy for the entities. Does Rosenstein have entity issues? Yes. Does Rosenstein have entity issues? Yes. Yeah. I think he's like the errand boy for the entities. But he definitely has some entity involvement. He does look like a creeper, doesn't he? It's not the guy that you want to see hanging around your kid's playground. Like the troll in the Lord of the Rings. I can't remember that little guy's name either. He loves the precious. Wow. Rod, Tracy doesn't think he's bad. Okay, Tracy. You may have a minority opinion on that. He looks like the elf on the shelf, says Michelle. He does kind of look like an elf on the shelf, doesn't he? Rod was running a sting on the coup. Really? Huh. That's interesting, Tracy. How about this guy? Roger Stone. Playful, happy, silly. No entities there, in my opinion. And a hell of a hairpiece. Really good. Really well done. I think it's a hairpiece. It looks like it's really well done. Does Roger Stone have any entity issues? No, a hearty no. I say no way. I don't know about Roger Stone, if he's purer than the driven snow, but I don't think he has any entity issues. And I think he's G. Gordon Liddy. He's not going to turn on the president no matter what they do to him. They could stick bamboo shoots under his fingernails and Stone would just tell him to go pound sand. Stone is not giving up the president for nothing. Not Stone. I say no entity in Stone. Tracy's saying entity in Stone. I don't think I've ever disagreed with Tracy twice in the same. I say no entity. The rods say no entity, but Tracy Dyer says he's got critters. I don't see it, Tracy. I don't see it. But hey, you never know. See, we're about to, we're able to have disagreement without calling each other names and doing all that kind of stuff. And here's the last one for today, ladies and gentlemen. We did ask the rods about Roger Stone. You got to be careful with rods because that'll happen to you. Does Roger Stone have critters? No. Is Roger Stone possessed of entities? No. Yeah, I don't think Roger Stone is. But that's just me. Far be it for me to agree with Tracy Dyer. And here's the last one for today. Kim Jong-un. I know I'm supposed to say he's bad. Stone will not roll on the president. I disagree with you, Scott, but we'll see. I don't think Stone ever rolls on the president. Stone is G. Gordon Liddy, same kind of guy. I'm looking at Kim, and I know you're supposed to say bad things about Kim, and I know you're supposed to think he's a horrible guy, and I know you're supposed to think he's evil and wicked. No, I see no problem with Kim's eyes. And that's one of the reasons why his thing with Trump, his meeting with Trump, his summit with Trump is going to be very successful for both of them. It's going to be very successful for both of them. I think he's clean too. Tracy, we agree again. Good. Yep. I think he's fine. I don't know where he's getting his Twinkies in North Korea, but he looks clean to me. Let's see what the rods say. Who's sending up? He's smuggling the Twinkies? Who's smuggling the Twinkies to President Kim? Does President Kim have any entity issues? No, he doesn't. I agree with the rods. Joe says he's a kid stuck in a political game. I can agree with that. I think he's probably a kid stuck in a political game. And Trump, by treating him like a grown-up, amazingly brilliant. And you know, I'm not totally on the Trump train. I'm kind of on the wall with Trump. You get it? But his handling of Kim has been absolutely masterful. Scott says that he wants a Trump hotel. And that may not be that far from the truth. Trump Tower, Pyongyang. Maybe it's coming, ladies and gentlemen. Who knows? Now, we're going on and we're talking about this, and we've got a lot of politicians to go through. I don't know if this is interesting to you, if this is boring to you. I like it. And I want to continue it, but let me know what you think. Should we look at more politicians and more he needs a MAGA cap. Wouldn't that be funny? I thought about looking at, like Tracy Dyer suggested, we look at some, thank you, Jennifer. We look at some some evangelists, some ministers, some ex-politicians. We could look at people in entertainment. We could look at people in business. I think we'll do that. It sounds interesting to me. It sounds, and it's pretty, Kim. Yeah, I don't think nobody says Kim isn't light, which is interesting. Trudeau we'll definitely look at. We'll look at Smollett, Juicy Wallet. We'll definitely take a look at him. You can laugh, but a lot of people want to travel to North Korea out of curiosity. I'd probably go to North Korea. So interesting stuff, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight I have Kira King on at 9:00 Central Time. A very esoteric show. We did Bernie yesterday. A very esoteric show. She's going to be giving away a free guided meditation. So you want to show up to be able to find out how to get that. And Joel Osteen will definitely look at. And let me just double check something while we're here. I issued a challenge to someone for a debate. And at first they were calling me really, really bad names and you name it, anytime, any place. And then I accepted their challenge for a debate and they went silent on me. So let's see if there's been any reply. Whoops. Oh, that sounds like Wayne Steiger, doesn't it? So let's see if they said anything. Nope, still no reply after 39 minutes. I was being called everything but a nice guy by the Planet X News guy, and I challenged him to a debate, and he said, anytime you're ready, idiot. Let's do it tonight, F-U-C-K, boy. Ramp it up. I'm ready. And then I said, okay, what do you want to debate about? Let's schedule. Stop effing around and schedule the debate. I said, if you're up for a scholarly, respectful debate, if you're capable of that, name the topic, and I'm your huckleberry. And it's been 39 minutes. So maybe he's just all squawk and no walk, but we'll see, ladies and gentlemen. I'll keep you posted on that. That's a possibility. It could happen, or it may not happen. Depends upon the testicular fortitude of that particular individual. And I don't know. That might be a little bit lacking. We'll see. So I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian whistleblower. We do appreciate you checking this out. I think we've found something that's pretty interesting, and I think it's pretty enlightening. Now, I know it's not necessarily 100% empirical because we are spiritual people looking at people's eyes, and, we are confirming with divining rods, but we're confirming with divining rods. So we can't really call this an empirical study, but I think it's a pretty interesting spiritual study. And I think it's definitely worth it. And since somebody asked about Bernie's eyes, I'll show him Bernie's eyes from yesterday if I can find him real quick. I'll show him Bernie's eyes from yesterday. Let me share this screen, then we'll get out of here. Somebody asked about Bernie. I just happen to have Bernie, so let's share Bernie. And then we'll get out of here and get ready for the rest of the day's festivities. Bernie Sanders. Come on, Bernie. Don't be shy. There's Bernie. And I looked at Bernie's eyes and I said, entity. I definitely say entity. Let's see what the rods say about Bernie's eyes. Is Bernie possessed of a malevolent entity? The rods say a pretty healthy yes. So that's my take on Bernie. And that's also the confirmation of the rod's take on Bernie. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. We've just made several million Bernie voters upset. But if I'm not making people upset, I'm not conscious. I'm asleep. So Bernie and the Jets. There you go. Bernie. Bernie. Bernie and the Jets. Anyway, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Bernie Sanders, ladies and gentlemen, possessed of malevolent entities, in the opinion of your friendly neighborhood Christian whistleblower. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and unindoctrinate ourselves, guide our own spirits, master our own ascensions, be our own gurus, continue to ask questions, continue, ladies and gentlemen, to question answers, and we'll see if the debate with little Scotty Sion materializes or not. Maybe in an alternative timeline, says Jennifer. I meant last time. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian whistleblower. Thanks for being here. And remember, we're the last generation of real humans. Let's unindoctrinate ourselves.